What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Ice. I have an incredible broadcast for you today. We have made it to our fifth installment of my investigation into mainstream media's COVID-19 coverage. I hope you can see this. I created a flow chart so that you can follow along step by step uh, amongst our investigation. Um, and it only gets crazier and crazier. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. There is no time like the present. So, yesterday, uh, I got a knock on the door by the crisis intervention team from the FBI. So, I was actually visited from the FBI. Um, what happened was there was a misunderstanding. Someone from SSM Health filed a suspicious activity report and to the fusion center. So there is fusion centers still, and they were concerned I could be a threat. Um, I I explained to the very nice officers that I was a journalist, a media guy, and just a citizen practicing my First Amendment rights, and that I was no threat. And they agreed. I did record the conversation and made a backup copy and put that copy on a flash drive, and then I have the flash drive hidden just in case. Um, not saying anything. I'm not saying anything bad uh, against the law enforcement. What I mean is, just in case there's a misunderstanding and I'm perceived as defamatory and or some kind of a harassment, something like that. So that is where we're at with that. And because I'm not trying to antagonize law enforcement. So before we move any further with this investigation, um, it's important to make everything clear. Ice Enterprises and 21st Century News is 100% completely nonviolent. We believe in participating in the political process. I personally am not psychotic and I am not a threat to anyone. Um, I have complete control of my emotions and my faculties. Uh, Matter of fact, um, I'm not afraid of me. I'm afraid of other people setting me up. Like this, for example. And I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to do that. This could be anyone that would want to stop me using various techniques. And I won't save this, I'm going to delete it, but I just want to show you two four. So I created the top 10 lists of ways that somebody could get set up, especially journalists, because it's happened plenty of times in the past. So, number one technique, turn the heat up on you, wait till you make one slight breaking of the law, like a minor offense, and then throw the book at you, like a misdemeanor, and get full penalty of a year in jail. Then in jail, have the inmates torment you. That's number one. Number two, pull you over and plant drugs on you, or break into your home and plant drugs on you. Number three, befriend you, hang out with you, and drop ideas that are illegal or get you to say something illegal, also used to discredit you. Number five, oh, the great honeypot. Honeypot you. Have a beautiful girl approach you and sleep with you. Next thing you know, you are being charged with rape or sexual assault. Why would any beautiful girl want my ugly ass? Number five, gang stalk you and use directed conversations designed to get you to overreact and make you look sociopathic and or psychotic, and it is almost impossible to prove small world or just coincidence. We will never know. Number six, plant child pornography on you on your electronic device. Good thing that I run a Linux device, and that on Linux you have a lot more user control of your file, your memory system, which in Linux uses a file tree structure, as opposed to Windows, which uses what they call drives, like your A drive, B drive, C drive, and it's very convoluted with all kinds of files that you can't track. But as a security measure, we'll go ahead and take this laptop into an IT professional, have it looked over, get a timestamp, date, and signature, just to make sure that there's no child pornography on this laptop. And that is not an admission of guilt. That is to double check, like I'm showing you, that I don't get set up, and to have something to verify that. Number seven, file an harassment charge or a restraining order. Also, this goes with discrediting you. Number eight, pick a fight with you on the streets and get an assault charge on you. And this is where finally it gets violent. Number nine, break into your home and poison your food. And finally, number 10, shoot you at point blank range and stage it as a random robbery gone bad with no witnesses, of course. Some people speculate that's what happened to Seth Rich. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen. And just to make it clear, I am not. Oh yeah, I guess you could get suicided too. It'd be number 11. I am not, and I repeat, I am not homicidal or suicidal, and would never hurt anybody, and I don't want to. And I do want to also stress this: I'm not. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. I'm not trying to play some kind of cat and mouse game with the authorities or people of official status. I'm not trying to outsmart them or any of that. Seriously, I'm not. I actually like police officers, or I do like officials too of any institution. Okay. I am a journalist before this COVID-19. I do enjoy making content and providing it to people. I wouldn't be doing this unless this unprecedented COVID-19 thing happened. But I really shouldn't explain that because this is actually my rights. I really just want to, some people might ask, hey, Iceman, you don't need this, all this trouble, Speaking of which, this is the DA of St. Louis, this gal here. And if you didn't know, the case with the McCloskeys was dismissed by the judge because she used that charge to boost her campaign, which is illegal. So the case was dismissed, But that's what you're dealing with in St. Louis. Here's the good news: is that I will not be living in the city of St. Louis for very much longer. This is a red state, which allows a one-party consent Missouri recording law, one-party consent, which I've abided by. But I will be outside of the jurisdiction of whatever. I'm not going to make any accusations. Like I said, I love and appreciate law enforcement. Matter of fact, we'll just leave it at that. But here's the good news: I can continue down my investigation because I can prove that I have lived in the city and that the mandatory mask law um, has affected me since the time that I've lived here. And I currently still do live here. So even when I move out, matter of fact, into a county not far that doesn't require mass law and is a little bit more um, appreciative of citizen journalists, let's just say, um, but can still continue my investigation. So, really, honestly, um, the way we're going to go from here on out is that I won't record, or I still will record the conversations, but I won't play the conversations until I know for sure that it is legal. Even though it is legal, actually, um, we will not do that. And the only reason that I do it, and let me go back to here. Let me increase the view so you can see it. The only reason that I do it is to cover my butt so that nobody can say that I'm being deflammatory or that, I'm not harassing anybody. Matter of fact, I'm being 100% transparent. Also, this helps me so that I don't get set up. Now, who would want to set somebody up? Well, Big Pharma has been known to do that, right? Okay, well, they've been known to do that. Now, it's interesting. So we're gonna jump off this funnel for the time being, but we're gonna come back to that. And I did, as you remember, I did contact. Oh, by the way, everything is straightened up. There was just a misunderstanding. I'm talking about with the crisis intervention team. Just a misunderstanding. They didn't know who I was. They're very nice, really great people. Okay. Um, and like I said, I won't play the tape just because I'm not trying to be adversarial with law enforcement. I would love to work together with all parties involved. Um, but they did. They said I wasn't a threat, so everything's fine. They just didn't know I was a journalist. Stephanie Zoller, I'm sure it was a misunderstanding. She didn't know I was. She thought maybe I was some kind of crazy person or something because of the questions I was asking. Just a misunderstanding. If you remember, she asked me to communicate with her via email. So I will create a new email address specifically for the communication with Miss Zoller. That way I don't have to worry about any malware put onto that, like a keystroke or rootkit malware on that email. This will only specifically for my communication with Ms. Stephanie Zoller, of which I'm going to read the email that I will send her to you so that everything is completely transparent and that you know what it is. So if you allow me, I will read it to you. Miss Stephanie Zoller, hello, this is 21st Century News. We spoke over the phone on December 14th, 2020. I am the owner of 21st Century News. During our phone call, you instructed me to communicate via email. Also, there must have been a misunderstanding because it has come to my attention that someone from SSM Health, which could only be you or Mr. Patrick Kemper, reported a suspicious activity report to the St. Louis County Fusion Center, of which I received a knock on my door by three crisis interventionists from the FBI, which were concerned that I could be a threat, of which I explained that I am a researcher slash journalist slash reporter slash citizen, and I am no threat, and they agreed. Also, Ms. Stephanie, I feel I should remind you of the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, and it reads as this: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Also, I may consider using the Sunshine Act in regards to my questions. If you don't know what the Sunshine Act is, please look it up. I will show you what that is later. Thank you so much and look forward to your reply and positive line of communication from here on out. So here's the questions. Questions for SSM Health Center at 1201 South Grand Boulevard, St. Louis, Missouri, 63104. Part 1, medical and or clinical. Number 1, how do you determine death by COVID-19? What test do you use? Number 2, in determining death, do you factor in comorbidity factors, examples, lung cancer, age, obesity, etc.? Number 3, how many total beds are in the COVID-19 ICU at 1201 South Grand Boulevard, St. Louis, Missouri, 63104? Number 4, do you use the EpiTrack system? Number 5, what is the COVID-19 death rate at 1201 South Grand Boulevard, St. Louis, Missouri, 63104? Number 6, not personal info, but raw data like cases and deaths. Who do you report your COVID-19 data to? Part 2, number 1, do you receive any funding for any patient diagnosed with COVID-19? If so, by who? Number 2, do you receive any funding for any patient diagnosed and who has died due to COVID-19? If so, by who? Number 3, what total funding have you received from SSM Health Urgent Response Fund? Number 4, is it possible to have a tour of the COVID ICU? Number 5, is your hospital restricted to other patrons and or patients not COVID-19 related? If so, how long do you plan on maintaining such restrictions? Number 6, who or what organization slash department slash agency and or entity created the St. Louis Pandemic Task Force? Number 7, who does the St. Louis Pandemic Task Force report to? Or more specifically, who is in the top entity that runs the St. Louis Pandemic Task Force? And number 8, does the St. Louis Pandemic Task Force advise slash communicate with the St. Louis City Health Commissioner Eccles, MD, and the county of the city? I have to change it. Of City of St. Louis Health Department. And I need to advise that and say when it comes to COVID related advice. So that's the email that I'll be sending to Ms. Stephanie Zoller. So let's get back to this, where we're gonna go. So like I said, we're gonna pause this, okay? We won't play tape recordings from here on out until, if I find that it's illegal, which I don't believe it is, I will take these down and file a retraction. In the meantime, we're going to branch off into our other investigation. I'm gonna keep that a secret. You'll know when I go to part 6. But just to give you an idea of where we're going and what we figured out. So, okay, we figured out that the power that the city is deriving from the COVID-19 restrictions is coming from the Department of Health. So that the health commissioner, and I'll give you an example. The health commissioner has the power to shut down a business when it comes to city health. For example, restaurants have to have a pass, a health pass to maintain operations. What that means is certain city codes, they have to, keep food at a certain temperature so that, this people don't get sick, like, salmonella and what else is there? E. coli, stuff like that, like rat tails, roaches. They just make sure that the city is up to code, right? Um, so this they're using that line of uh, logic to to mandate businesses must require that their patients wear mandatory masks and social distancing. Also, I'm going to add a question here that I'm telling you live right now. I'm going to ask what scientific research I want them to cite. I will add that number 9. What scientific research papers are they referring to based on their decision to mandate businesses to be shut down wearing masks and social distancing? Because if they say that we're following the advice of the CDC, well, that's gonna work in 2 ways. It's positive because whatever research, if they cite a research paper, right? Because they're on the hook now because of what they're doing has consequences, right? They are literally using an unprecedented event to affect the lives of over 350,000 people that live in the city of St. Louis. Now you can't buy or sell goods in the city of St. Louis unless you wear a mask and that you social distance. Now, I believe that there is a huge opportunity for a civil action lawsuit because right now, because of the COVID-19, they have no consequences of their action, right? They're given unilateral power. And here's another thing: if they say, "Well, we're just abiding by the CDC's guidelines," we will contact the CDC. But we've already contacted the CDC, and I mean, looking at their website, they're not ordering any city to run a mask. If that was the case, every county in the country would be doing it. So the CDC is not ordering it. This is solely on the judgment of the county health commissioner, which is getting their advice from the St. Louis Pandemic Task Force. Now, I'm not trying to cause any trouble. I know that Dr. Garza is a very nice gentleman. I know that he spent over 10 years with Department of Homeland Security. So, he could always make calls to the Department of Homeland Security and say, hey, I have somebody asking questions and, I could be under threat of malpractice. I could get a malpractice lawsuit, which is weird because why is there not massive amounts of malpractice lawsuits? Because of the unique circumstances of this pandemic. The fact that they've given hospitals unilateral power. But I don't want it to go to that route. If you just let me investigate, I will go away. If you just allow me to do my, investigation into corruption, this will all go away and I will disappear. Oh, wait, hold on. What does that sound like? That sounds familiar. Oh, yeah. If you just wear a mask, your problems will go away. If you just go along and you submit if you just submit your body, right, this will all go away. If you just take a vaccine and the shot, all your troubles will go away. The lockdown will lift and y'all can go back to socializing. Your business can open back up. Well, wait, hold on. What does that sound like? Hold on. It sounds like this. That's right. That is the exact definition of coercion. Oh, and here's another thing. Oh, hey, I'll give you an example. There's a lot of dangerous people around town. You might need some security because your little newsstand, something bad could happen to it. Somebody, might come and start a fire to your newsstand. But you know what? We're pretty tough guys, and if you just pay us $3 or $4 a week, we'll make sure nothing happens to your newsstand. And then so what happens is the newsstand doesn't want to pay. Said, no, you know what? I could take care of myself. I don't need that. And then the same people who offered the security, well, they go ahead and burn the newsstand. What is that called? Oh, well, that sounds familiar because, if you create a crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic, of 2020, and you got a vaccine and a patent for the vaccine that makes a lot of money, well, that sounds just like this. Right, that's extortion. So not only do you have coercion, you got extortion, you got a violation of civil rights, but you also got, ladies and gentlemen, you got internet censorship. So I've been suspended off Twitter, which is my largest platform. I got over 850 subscribers, and they suspended me for no reason, right? Well, actually, there might be a reason, because the day that I got suspended, I was promoting a video like this, and I'd like for you to listen to it. Here, it's pretty cool, I think. Listen to it.
Many of you have reached out to us asking which businesses are considered essential.
They want to know why some places...
Not essential. I think you misunderstand the meaning of the word.
No blow shines, sir. Stand over there. Move. Next.
Being not essential. I teach history and literature. Not essential. I think you misunderstand the meaning of the word.
No blow shines, sir. Stand over there. Move.
The governor deemed these businesses non-essential as well. Bars and nightclubs, entertainment venues, gyms, public events, and convention centers.
When it's not essential.
It's metal polisher.
On why the judge said no. Vargas, is everything okay?
Our government leaders have abandoned me.
It's not right.
Are you the owner?
It's too new.
$4 trillion of stimulus money. They gave it to who? Special interest groups and campaign donors. I'm Dave Morse. I own the place. So what's going on? What's going on? You know what's going on.
Crazy. You left it in your door.
We got a government.
How many times have I told you?
Taking the stimulus
You're
money.
worth
They
it.
gave
You
it
keep...
to
It's not right. Very good.
in your pocket at all times.
This frustrated LA restaurant owner posting this emotional video, showing a television crew's tenant
I'm a
dining
metal
setup.
polisher.
Just a few
He's 53 years old. It's too new. Thank you.
feet from the outdoor dining area she was forced to close.
Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio.
We know COVID's real.
You're crazy. You left it in your drawer. How many times have I told you? Your work certificate you keep in your pocket at all times. And you leave your thousands on heaters for their big outdoor patio.
I'm a metal
General manager
polisher.
arrested for a second time in less than a week. This while in Massachusetts, the governor.
Your work certificate you keep in your pocket at all times. And you leave your in your drawer. How many times I told you?
I'm a metal polisher.
Take the round sheet of tin.
Not essential. I think you misunderstand the meaning of the word.
No blow shines, sir. Stand over there. Move. Next.
Being not essential. I teach history and literature. Since when it's not essential?
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to explain two things. So, it gets worse, okay? The New World Order, or whatever expression you want to say, baby, it's here, okay? And we know what they're trying to do. You see, after 9/11, which, you know, I was a young man. I was, 21? I'm 40 years old. And here's another thing, too. I'm 40 years old, and I've never been convicted of a felony or misdemeanor, and I've never been diagnosed with psychosis. So I have a pretty good track record of nonviolent behavior. Here's another thing too. You know, I have a lot of people that can vouch for my character, people that love me at jobs and churches. And I'm sure I can get them to vouch for my character. Here's another thing, okay? I got the people, okay? I got the people. The people will vouch for me. Here's another thing. Oh, Twitter suspended me. And you know what they say? They say words like this. You know, this is what their argument is, right? Rise up before it's too late. Or, let's see. Do not wear the mask. See, that's protected by free speech, right? But they'll argue it's hate speech. And here's another thing, okay? Now I'm going to give you some examples. These are some episodes that, see, I'm not only just a news guy, I'm also a content creator. So there's examples that, and since we're going to go into this new realm, this new stage of, you know, our investigation, we're really going to be on our P's and Q's, and we're going to reach out to attorneys, but we're going to get into that later. I'll show you in this episode. But, you know, we're going to be scouring through all our videos, you know, and making sure that, you know, we're not saying like rhetoric, you know, like, for example, you know, you're damn right you're not going to stop me from this investigation, right? You see how I did? I raised my voice. And see, you know, in a world of absolute laws, and when you put in safety above everything, what they can do is say, sir, don't raise your voice. Sir, you're mentally disturbed. Sir, we're gonna put you in the hospital. You're very depressed. You have a lot of anxiety, sir. And then you don't have any rights because you were perceived as some kind of a threat. But you know what? That's actually not true. I'll give you some examples of previous shows that I might have said, and I don't want to be any confusion on you know, what the difference between news and fictional content. I'll give you two examples. This episode I created here.
Okay. So, just rolling on fucking cowboy coffee. Fucking rage. Thinking about how the fuck so-and-so, whoever the fuck. They wanted fucking the American citizen. They got the fucking American citizen now.
Okay, you see that? I use cuss words, and that could be considered aggressive, threatening talk. But, well, let me show you another example. This comes from a song that's pretty good. This is not my song. This is a song on the internet that I found, and I'm going to play it for you here.
Well, every day I'm shining my gun, and every motherfucking day I want to kill someone, or I'm a telethon, cause I'm...
Okay. Now, that's a good example of, I mean, that's considered violent talk, right? Let me show you a clip from from a movie, right? It's obviously fictional, but they're talking about violent stuff. Here.
If you're looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Okay, so it's considered fictional content protected by the First Amendment, right? Okay. So that applies to the same thing on over my show. Matter of fact, really, what is the difference between news and just fictional content? Is it both the same? Well, I would argue technically, yes. It's all just freedom of speech, and that the audience or viewers should decide. Matter of fact, if my viewers don't like my content, then they can watch mainstream media, mainstream media's content. But, you know, stuff like this, they're probably not going to report. They're not going to report that the case was dismissed, that this DA's over prosecution of the McCloskeys was dismissed. We should probably get to the McCloskeys too, because they are lawyers. Another thing I want to talk to you about is what is press credentials, really? And this gets to the heart of free speech. You see, free speech is not just your ability to say, you know, anything you want, which is called free speech, like, hey, fuck you, motherfucker. That's protected. But it's also the ability to have what they call free press. Now, you don't actually have to have credentials to be considered press. Now, the left or mainstream media, they'll convince you that you do. But I'd like to read this passage or this title for you. It's called "How to Get Press Credentials." Okay, I'm going to read it here. I'll zoom it in so you can see it. Okay. Quotes. See, it quoted it. Press credentials is essentially a general term that can be applied in several ways. For instance, you can receive credentials from the media organization you work for. I happen to own ICE Enterprises and 21st Century News, but they may not gain you any more access than anyone else. Generally, to gain access in events and government sessions, you must contact the event organizer or the specific department or government body in charge to get credentials to cover areas where only the press are allowed. So let's go back to these questions here that I have for Ms. Zoller. She doesn't have to answer them. And I can report that she doesn't want to answer them, and I can allow you, the citizen, to wonder why they have something to hide. But mainstream media will not tell you that, right? So when you talk about free speech and how it means everything, it's not just that you can say, you know, whatever you want, as long as it's, you know, not threatening, but that it's really essentially at the heart of it, it is your ability, because anybody can be a freelance journalist, right? You don't have to earn money, by the way, of which I do not get any, as of right now, monetary value or compensation for my work. I am doing it strictly for the people. But it's your right to ask questions. Since you are, in a sense, your own press, that gives you the right to ask questions. Now, the First Amendment, like I just showed you, is under serious assault. Not only will they make you have that there's a difference between press and I guess what they call fake press, and they'll probably mandate that only certain people with press credentials can be press. That's a violation of First Amendment. Well, what does that remind you of? That reminds you of the old Soviet Union, which that people, or I guess if you want to say China, people don't have the right to question the government or the right to question anything. That all your information will be given to you by the Minister of Information or the minister or of propaganda, right? Like in Nazism. Now, if you can't see the parallels of where we're at, oh, yes, don't get me wrong. We're all well fed, we're all entertained, and I get it, right? It's 2020. Oh, it's different, right? We've all technologically advanced. So it's different that just surrender your rights. It's okay. It's okay. Complete safety. Well, you know what? The way we're heading is not good. Matter of fact, here's an example. And I'm telling you, whatever direction you're moving to, this is a message to the ones that are pushing the country to go into this direction. You're making a big mistake, and you're going to end up like this.
Gun, noun, portable firearm. This device was widely utilized in the urban wars of the late 20th century, referred to as a pistol.
Look, I don't need a history lesson. Come on, Hal. Where the goddamn guns?
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Fuck you.
Your repeated violation of the verbal morality statute has caused me to notify the San Angeles Police Department. Please remain where you are for your reprimand.
Yeah, right. Fuckers are fast, too.
You are fined 1 credit for violation of the verbal morality statute.
Protect serve in place. 4 minutes, 15 seconds lapsed.
Maniac is imminent. Request advice.
With a firm tone of voice, demand Maniac lie down with hands behind back.
Simon Phoenix, lie down with your hands behind your back.
What's this? 6 of you. Such nice, tidy uniforms. Oh, I'm so scared. What, you guys don't have sarcasm anymore?
Maniac has responded with a scornful remark.
Approach and repeat ultimatum in an even firmer tone of voice. Add the words, or else.
Simon Phoenix, lie down on the ground, or else.
Anti-graffiti activation program activated. Aborted. Human presence detected. Safety override code accepted.
Lucky number 7. Oh! Okay.
Okay, that's an example of the future where you have no liberty, right? And it's all completely safe. Well, as a matter of fact, I can lock you in a jail cell and you'll be completely safe, but you'll have no liberty. And on the other end of the extreme is you can have 100% liberty, but have to deal with the risks. You know, that's what the survival of the fittest, the absolute wildness. So we like, there's a balance in between. For example, I do support stuff like this, right? But I know what they're going with this COVID thing. Okay, the episode prior to this, I explained to you that after 9/11, your information no longer became yours. Your data, right? What you search online, your privacy, your date of birth, your name, all that, all your information, your data, all the data that you do online is not owned by you. Your data is owned by information brokers. Yes, there is such a thing as an information broker. And so all your data gets bought and sold without your permission. Well, actually, technically, they figured out a loophole around that. So yes, once again, corporations have figured out how to monetize your individual data. And what happens is the social media companies or whatever, they scoop and collect all your data and they sell it to an information broker, and your broker resells it to marketers. And then marketers take that data and use it for selling products. So it's one vicious cycle. Now, if I was running for Congress or whatever, I would probably say, you know what, we should probably pass laws that make the individual own their own data. And if the individual decides to sell their data, they should be paid for their data, right? That makes sense. That would be an example of a way to have technology and liberty too. But of course, you're not the one, you're the one that's getting sold out. And of course, you would know it because the mainstream media is also owned by the same people that own your data. Here's another thing. So after we didn't collectively reject the events after 9/11, which we know is an inside job, it was too late. Now, I was ignorant at the time, okay? And before 9/11, they really didn't pull any events like this. But we know that now. And guess what? They want to get it to, we've already know that they're going to push this to about 2022, which gives them time to get everything into place to where your body, your particular body is now not, you don't own it, right? A corporation owns it now. Hospitals own it, right? This is condition you to let go of your rights. Okay, your individual rights, your body rights. Well, that's funny because this is there is a precedence for that, and it's called Roe versus Wade. In that, they argue that it's your body, you can do whatever you want with it, and that the government can't tell you that, right? That is the argument. Now, I don't believe in abortion. I'm pro-life. But where is these pro-choice people, right? The right to choose? They're nowhere. It's okay. Now, it's okay to abort babies, but everything else that you do with your body, that's not okay because of the safety, right? The safety of the community. Now, because of the safety of others, you don't have the right to do that you want with your body. So that the Department of Health or whatever official government entity is now, for the purposes of safety, is going to make you take a vaccine, which is extortion, right? We went over this. We know that the vaccines is a huge moneymaker. So let me show you this. This is Missouri's recording law. Obviously, Missouri is a one-party consent law. And when you do record, so what we're doing is legal. And actually, can you record it? Let's see. What if you're recording the activities of police and other government officials in public? Special considerations apply when recording police officers or other public officials. You may have a constitutional right to openly record the activities of police and other officials in public, so long as you do not interfere with those activities or violate generally applicable laws. So basically, if you're not interfering with their investigation, you have even more power to record police and government officials. And if the St. Louis Pandemic Task Force is an official entity that is in charge of advising the Commissioner of Health, where 350,000 people in the city of St. Louis can't buy and sell goods without having to wear a mask, that there's no, science behind, they might want to reconsider, but they're only going to reconsider if you get tough with them. And this is what I think we have. This is the template. This episode here from Crowdsource the Truth 2 is excellent. He interviews a guy named attorney Carl Schwartz, explains the Article 78 petition served against New York Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Papers and the things that you're talking about. Obviously, if your time is occupied doing this type of Article 78 petition,
This is the template that we will go by. We're going to watch this 2 or 3 times, take notes, and then we're going to organize a civil action, civil rights lawsuit. Civil rights. Lawsuits regarding civil rights deal with the civil rights that every human deserves. That's the Constitution, Bill of Rights. These rights are protected by the Bill of Rights. So when an entity violates the civil rights of several people, justice may be served. This runs from illegal searches by police or being discriminated against your gender, skin color, or sexuality. There have also been several Americans with Disabilities Act lawsuits due to companies not making products accessible to those with disabilities or not making stores accessible to everyone. Now, I can't buy and sell anything unless I have to wear a mask. And I'm not going to wear a mask because I don't believe in the science of it. And I think it's a giant scam. So here's a list of civil rights attorneys in St. Louis. Okay, so we're going to be contacting them. Okay. So I think that concludes my my presentation. Some people might ask, damn, Ice, why go through all this? I will be damned. Well, let me repeat that so you can hear it. I will be damned if I'm going to allow this to happen to me and my fellow citizens. Well, some people might say, well, who do you work for, Ice? Who do you work for? I told you who I work for, okay? I told you. I work for liberty.